Reynolds is the brain behind all of these subpoenas. Maybe him and Nick Shapiro has been sitting together, like, how can we punish these people?
A lawyer just blew the whistle on Ryan Reynolds for allegedly leaking sensitive court documents that he reportedly did it using a secret burner email address, all before the discovery process had even begun. In doing so, he may have broken multiple serious federal laws. The scandal escalated quickly and took a shocking turn.
Ryan Reynolds is now trying to bully the court to try to put financial pressure on Justin Baldoni. You are the ones who started the lawsuit.
He's now been barred from Blake Lively's deposition, all because of his aggressive and manipulative behavior, and Disney? They're already preparing to sever ties. His empire isn't just shaking, it's falling apart behind the curtain. Ryan looks less like a charming star and more like a Hollywood Bond villain, armed with Wi-Fi and a burner email. It's time to peel back that polished exterior, because this isn't a superhero tale. This is a story of sabotage that all began with one burner email. That's right, not a slick agency memo, not a confidential court document, just a shady little Gmail knockoff. And what was Ryan doing with it? Sending off sensitive deposition transcripts and behind-the-scenes film footage to an outside PR firm, the kind of material that's supposed to stay sealed tight in a federal courtroom. And the wildest part? It all got leaked before discovery even started. Let that sink in. He didn't even wait for the court to ask for documents. He just jumped the gun, turning the whole thing into his own version of legal Hunger Games, right under the judge's nose. And who exposed it all? Not a journalist. It wasn't a hacker. It wasn't even Justin Baldwin's legal team. Nope, the whistleblower was none other than Mike Gotodal, the very lawyer Ryan Reynolds personally hired. The guy was supposed to clean up the chaos. But instead, he took one look around and said, "Yeah, I'm not going to prison for this circus." Ryan and Blake thought they could pull courtroom strings like it was a PR stage show, but Gotodal didn't just cut the strings. He torched them. He quickly realized he was being set up, not to defend justice, but to act as a human shield in a PR war meant to bury Baldwin's case under celebrity flash. And Gotodal wasn't having it. He stepped back and said, "Absolutely not." Because that burner email? It wasn't just about managing optics. It carried direct, incriminating instructions, and I quote, "Bury anything linking Taylor, Hugh, or the crew. Oh, and don't forget, scrub metadata." That's not a celebrity protecting his loved ones. That's someone staging a full-blown cover-up like it's a Mission Impossible spin-off, tampering with legal documents, sneaking out classified video files, and handing them over to a PR firm built to turn dumpster fires into fairy tales. This isn't just shady, it's flat-out criminal, and now comes the real punch. Because this isn't just about breaking courtroom decorum. Ryan Reynolds didn't just misstep, he broke federal law. We're talking violations of Rule 11 of Federal Civil Procedure, abuse of process, and a direct breach of the protective order issued in March 2020. Yes, that protective order, the one that clearly states, do not tamper with or leak private material during legal proceedings. That you'd think someone with a billion-dollar brand and a Marvel contract would know better. But apparently, reading contracts doesn't have the same appeal as tweeting about aviation gin. But this time, the consequences are far from funny. Insiders now say the chaos has triggered a full-blown federal obstruction investigation. And Ryan? He could be looking at up to 5 years behind bars just for this one violation alone. Honestly, that might be his most impactful role since Deadpool 2. Only this time, the suit's orange, and the fourth wall? It's reinforced concrete, but wait, we're not done. Not even close. Because leaking sealed legal documents before the discovery phase doesn't just bend courtroom rules, it steamrolls right over them. What Ryan did fits the legal definition of evidence tampering and attempted witness influence, 2 charges. That can carry up to 20 years in federal prison, depending on how aggressive the court decides to be, and no, this isn't tabloid gossip. This isn't some click-chasing headline. This is felony-level obstruction of justice in a federal case. Courtrooms aren't social media. You don't get to run a smear campaign and walk away with likes and retweets, but Ryan didn't stop there. No, he leaned all the way into his PR playbook. While his legal team was filing motions, arguing that Baldwin's case was frivolous and a waste of time, Ryan was quietly handing over confidential materials to a third-party PR firm of all. To shape the headlines in his favor. That's not a legal defense, that's a full-scale, coordinated assault on the justice system dressed up in a designer tux. And guess what? The courtroom isn't the only place raising eyebrows. Sources close to the case say Disney's smiling days are over. Behind the scenes, they've already triggered an internal investigation, all thanks to the immorals clause, tucked neatly into Ryan's contract. You know the one, the clause that basically says, embarrass the brand, and you're out faster than a Pixar sequel that flops on opening weekend. And yes, it's very real. Disney doesn't care how many gin bottles you move or how cleverly you roast Blake Lively online. When the Mouse's brand is at stake, there are only two roles: you're either part of the production, or you're gone. And if that clause gets activated? Here's what Ryan stands to lose: a felony record, public courtroom humiliation, a $250,000 fine, his coveted Marvel contract, and let's not forget, his entire business empire. We're talking Aviation Gin, Maximum Effort Productions, Mint Mobile Clout, gone. Poof. If Deadpool 3 gets made, it might double as his farewell performance. Only this time, the audience is a jury, and the costume change? It's into a prison jumpsuit. But Ryan wasn't done stepping on rakes. Enter the sanctioned circus. That's right, as if leaking confidential materials behind the scenes wasn't enough, Ryan and Blake turned the drama up to 11 and brought it straight into open court. They filed a motion for monetary sanctions, not because Baldwin's case had no merit, not because the court found it lacking, but because it was bad for Ryan's image. And let's be honest, it clashed with his Deadpool 3 promo schedule. They actually tried to convince the judge to skip discovery altogether. You heard that right. Ryan's legal team asked the court to block the evidence before it was even collected. Basically saying, hey, judge, can we just skip due process? It's kinda killing my brand vibes. Seriously, once again, it was Mike Gotottle, the only adult in the room, who slammed on the brakes. He flat out refused to co-sign the stunt. Called it legal suicide. And he didn't mince words. He told Ryan directly, if you want someone to blow up their legal career for PR, go find another fool. Because that, right there, was a lawyer who'd had enough, tired of babysitting a millionaire who thinks the courtroom runs like Instagram. Post your version, slap on a filter, and wait for the applause. But here, the judge isn't hitting. Like, he's hitting gavel. This wasn't a legal move, it was a meltdown in motion. You don't file for sanctions before depositions. You don't try to financially choke your opponent before they've even had the chance to defend themselves. And you definitely don't do it because your publicist is in panic mode. But Ryan did exactly that, and the court took notice. Filing sanctions under false pretenses isn't just bad form. It's textbook abuse of process, and it could even turn into sanctions against his own legal team. But let's call it what it was, a tantrum dressed up in legalese. Ryan's message to the court wasn't about justice, it was about power. I'm rich. I'm famous. This lawsuit is annoying. Make it go away. That's not a defense. That's raw privilege on full display. But here's the twist, the mask is slipping. The sarcastic superhero? Gone. What we're watching now is a celebrity desperately trying to spin sabotage, leaks, and courtroom manipulation as just another quirky PR gag. It's not. And this time, if justice does its job, there'll be no witty exit line, just a mugshot, a stone-faced judge, and a lawyer who stopped pretending to care, and now we zoom out right into Disney's boardroom. Because while Ryan's crumbling in court, Bob Iger is losing his last nerve. Insiders say the Disney CEO isn't annoyed, he's furious. And when the man steering a multi-billion-dollar empire gets personally involved, it's not a warning. It's a corporate death sentence. Imagine being handed a shovel and asked to dig your own grave in front of the Magic Kingdom. Deadpool 3 was supposed to be Disney's golden goose, the edgy, family-safe blockbuster that prints money. But instead of teasers and trailers, the headlines are filled with court filings, subpoena wars, and shampoo launches that feel more like panic PR than product drops. Blake Lively? She's pitching haircare in the middle of a legal hurricane. It's the PR version of farting during a funeral, uncomfortable, mistimed, and absolutely no one's laughing. Now here's the kicker, Ryan's entire contract came through the Fox merger. He wasn't originally Disney's. He slipped through the cracks, baggage and all. But Disney saw the red flags. That's why they've got their secret weapon, the morals clause. If your name starts dragging Mickey Mouse through federal sewage, they can cut you off, clean, fast, and quietly. No farewell tour. No thanks for the memories behind closed doors. The marketing teams are spiraling. What should have been a billion-dollar rollout is now radioactive. Every search for Deadpool 3 drags up subpoenas, lawsuits, and influencer harassment. Ryan's face is floating somewhere between legal drama and shampoo ads. It's not a brand campaign anymore. It's a train wreck in slow motion, but Disney's not going to go nuclear. Not yet. They know a public breakup would be messy. So, they're rolling out something insiders are calling the quiet cancellation. No big announcement. Just silence. No new deals. No renewals. No meetings. You're technically still invited, but nobody saves you a seat. You fade, quietly. Completely. One insider put it bluntly, he still has a seat at the table, but no one's inviting him to dinner. That's not just savage. That's career death, Disney style. And now let's talk about Blake. Because what's a media collapse without dragging the internet into it? Her legal team didn't just serve subpoenas, they unleashed a scorched earth campaign. 16 subpoenas. Fired out like legal grenades. Big names like Paris Hilton, Andy Signore, and Candace Owens got hit. But they didn't stop there, they even targeted a tiny astrology YouTuber with just 300 subscribers. Why? Because apparently, horoscopes are now a legal threat. It wasn't about justice.